Lisa, you got me there on that one. Welcome to RT Sidebar. We are here again at ARC Congress 2024 in Orlando, Florida. And I get to sit between some beautiful bald men today. That makes me very, very happy.
I should have shaved my head.
I'm a little fuzzy today, too. They're going to be a little upset with me. But here at RT Sidebar, we love to have our friends Rob Fishwick from the great Northeast, Mike, Southern California. So glad to have you both. Mike, tell us a little bit about you and why we're here today.
A little bit about me. I'm program director for local associate master's programs in Southern California. Perfect. And I'm just excited to be on the podcast.
Awesome. Your students are here. Students, big clap.
Students.
Students, there we go. I love that.
This year.
That's right. They were in the Sputum Bowl. It's a tough competition, though, isn't it? Yeah. I'm looking at you. You guys did good, though. I heard you guys did great. I'm also here. OG Barfly, like episode 8, like super OG. My buddy Rob Fishwick. How are you today?
I'm wonderful, Matt.
Tell the audience a little bit about you.
So I'm Rob Fishwick. I live up in New Hampshire. I'm a manager of respiratory care, pulmonary diagnostics at St. Joseph's Hospital. I'm over 28 years now in the field of respiratory care. I've done a little bit of everything. I was a big EOPs guy, air medical transport for a long time. Yep. And excited to be here to talk about medical ethics with my colleagues.
We're going to talk about ethics today. Oh yeah. All right. A little ethical dilemmas. So I've had you both give lectures, webinars, type things about ethics. You guys do this fantastic. But sometimes ethics is a little controversial.
Oh, yeah.
You ready to do it? So we have legalese right here. Oh, I'm so excited. Beautiful bald men with glasses. Let's get this going. Give us a scenario that's a little uncomfortable.
So I'm going to give you kind of some of the scenarios that I've encountered from ethical standards in my life. Is one evening we were in the working at Elliott Hospital, Manchester. Right? So we got a level 3 NICU there, very busy ER, and my staff get a call. The NICU gets a call that there was about a 23-week-old infant born in the community. A woman's doing fine. The baby has a heart rate. They're providing bag mask ventilation, and they're going to be in the door in about 10 minutes. So we quickly got everybody together, got all the equipment, got the NICU down there, got the radiant warmer set up. EMS brings in the baby, we put the baby on the radiant warmer, establish an airway, get the baby on cardiac monitoring. We were unable to get any sort of intravenous access. Heart rate was about 80. They performed some compressions. Did figure that the baby was probably about 23 weeks. Was able to administer some medications down the endotracheal tube. The baby's temperature was about 33, 34 degrees Celsius. So this baby was very, very cold.
Yes.
Over the course of about an hour, the team worked very, very well together. But despite all of their best efforts, they were unable to successfully resuscitate this premature infant that was born. So the ethical dilemma that I want to present to you is, did we do the right thing? And what do I mean by did we do the right thing? Did we do the right thing in utilizing all those resources, right? 3 to 4 respiratory therapists, neonatologists, mid-level providers, taking NICU nurses away, ED providers, ED staff, for an infant that, in my opinion, was not going to survive.
Okay.
In my opinion, had no viability.
Okay. So,
Can I ask, how long ago was this?
Top of the spring. It was actually a week prior to that.
So a little bit, it's less than a year.
Yeah.
Okay, so within the last year?
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Within the last year.
That's important to know.
To tell us why.
Well, so I want to say about between 6 and 10 years ago, there was big news. The youngest baby born on record was 380-ish, 21 weeks survived.
Yes.
Now, that goes back to what we learned about 24 weeks being the week of viability, right? Pulmonary capillaries getting close enough to conduct gas exchange, and our technological advances. So in reality, at 22, 23 weeks-ish, are we able to these days move that 24 weeks down in that emergent situation? That becomes the biggest question to me. And I think the answer is yes. And you know, I believe that in that case, the chances of survival low, yes, but if there's a chance,
So you're saying there's a chance?
there's a chance, yeah. You know, that's just where I go. I get kind of cut and dry because I'm an old DOP guy too,
Yep.
and you know, and it's a big deal to me personally, and so if there's a chance, there's a chance, and you know, if your argument is resources, the resources are there for you.
Let me if I can counter argue that.
Sure.
That's why we're here.
So if you look, so correct, if you look at the data from the Vermont, if you look at Vaughan, right, Vermont Oxford Network data, they are 23 weeks now. It's considered right the new 24.
Right.
These are babies that are born in the most optimal conditions possible.
True.
Right.
That's true.
Right. They are born in centers that specialize with OBs, right, that deliver high-risk premature infants, with a team present to provide the highest level of neonatal resuscitative care and level 3 or level 4 neonatal capabilities, right? And even with all that, now let me ask you this question: what's the percentage of survival of those infants
So
to home?
to home with no morbidity.
Right.
No morbidity is 1%.
1%.
True mortality, I'd have to look at it, but I'm going to guess between 5 and 10.
5 to 10%.
Right?
About 10%.
About 10.
About 10%.
It's a tough one. If you're talking about resources, different conversation. But if we're talking specifically the age of the child, NRP says this: greater than 500 grams and or 23 weeks. So you can be one or the other. So the other piece is how do you know you're 23 weeks?
And that's a good point.
Yeah.
And that's a good point because you can be 23 weeks and have PPs for the whole
Correct.
right. So that's the argument that you kind of make there. The argument that I make is our job. Our job is to save life, to preserve life. That's our job. And in an instance, and you know, we were talking slightly about something similar to this beforehand. If the parents who are the primary decision makers, if they make that choice and they want you to do that, you can do that. It's just like if a wife whose husband has a DNR, she can rescind that DNR and snap her fingers. And what do we do from an ethical standpoint? Do we honor the patient or the patient's wife in that situation? We honor the patient's wife at that moment because the patient can no longer make that decision and the wife can make that choice. And if we have a responsibility in that case to perform CPR on the elderly patient, why wouldn't we have the same responsibility for the newborn, regardless of percent chances of survival?
So let me go back to my original, if I can go back to my original.
Yeah.
So part of my original argument was obviously the amount of resources required, right, for this micro preemie who we only estimated, right, 22, 23 weeks, born at home, was hopeless. He never recovered to a normal body.
No, never.
Never, right? That was part of the strike problem before I left out.
No, you said it. You said
Okay,
it.
I
You
didn't
said
say
it.
Yeah, and for our students, you don't call a code until they're warm.
Right,
Right.
and they were
Nobody
never
dies cold.
right. This infant had less than 1% chance of survival. So let me present it a little differently. If I agree that it is, as providers of healthcare, we have a moral obligation to do the right thing, right? That, I know we're not going to get into benevolence, but it's benevolence, right?
Yeah.
It's do the right thing. I think in this situation, in my opinion, I think what we should have done is we should have taken the baby. We should have explained to the parents that it was not going to survive. And we should have given that baby to the parents, and we should have put the parents in a comfortable place. And we should have supported them through what was a difficult time, opposed to, just hear me out,
No, I'm agreeing with you.
watching
100%. I totally
them,
understand.
watching. And again, we all know that statistical data around pediatrics is when the parents get to witness the resuscitation, they psychologically do better, right, in the long run versus locking them in a room, and then we come and tell them that their child died. I don't think that the resource allocation in this case, and the fact that this child had less than 1% chance of survival, in my opinion, equals what we put the parents through having to watch the resuscitation.
I understand.
Yeah.
So let's go for it. Let's remove, and actually let's separate them out. Let's have the resource conversation be a little bit separate.
Sure.
Because when you mix them together, my brain throws the resource conversation completely out, because to me it doesn't matter in that situation. So, but I want to clarify your argument, because if I understand it correctly, I agree with you 90%. Your argument is, with the chances being so low of survival, let's let the parents spend as much time with the child as possible.
Yeah.
That's your argument. And I that's a hard argument to argue against. However,
Yes,
You're laughing at
those
flamingos?
were very tall flamingos that passed by
Yeah,
the podcast while we're talking about medical ethics. That's fun times.
all the time. I understand the argument, and it's hard to argue against. However, isn't it also our job to find a balance between the two? And when we bring that in, we can bring resources back in as well, because our job is to consider resources. Now, from a management perspective versus a bedside therapist perspective, that consideration of resources is drastically different. Right? We recognize that. But we're talking, and you're speaking about it as a manager.
I am.
And I'm talking about it from that bedside RT and saying, okay, that bedside RT is saying, no, I want to save, I want to help this child, right? And so from a resource standpoint, we owe that child some resources, 100%. Your question is, how much? Right? That's really where your argument is. Should we have wasted all those resources? Wasted is a horrible word. That's an all words, right? Should we have used all those resources? But I think if you ask 100 people, you'll get 100 different answers, and probably 100. You won't get 50-50 across that board. You won't get 70-30. You won't get 80-20. You won't get 100 people agreeing with you to try. You'll get probably 100 different people that have something else to bring to that table. But in the end, I think there's a balance between using the resources, helping the child. And I come from a NICU, 61-bed level 3 in Southern California. We would bring the parents in. We don't lock them out. We bring them in, and we walk them through what we're doing for their child. And they see how much, they get to see then how much you care and how much this team wants to do good. And that can be comforting. And they're there able to spend time with the child while you're coding the child. They're there able to hold that child's hand. They're there able to have what you're suggesting we should have spent more time doing, which is letting them spend time with their child. They're there able to do that because we have a responsibility. We don't lock them out. And I'll be honest, even with an adult code, I don't agree with pushing family out. I believe that, if they're hysterical,
if they're not getting in the way.
yeah, if they're hysterical, then yes, they probably should be removed for their sake. But if they're not, and we can tell them what we're doing and show them how we're helping, that can be comforting in itself. And I think there's a lot to be said for that.
Could it be traumatic?
Absolutely.
It can be traumatic, absolutely. But one of the things that we do with parents in a NICU, right? I know we're not in a NICU here, we're in the ER, and we're babies going home. One of the things we do with the parents in a NICU is get them involved. We let them know, this is what you're going to see. This is what to expect. Trust me, it's perfectly normal. It's going to be a little shocking at first, but I promise you, these are normal things. And we do that in the delivery when we're coding that in the warmer, in the delivery room. We bring dad over, and I've been in codes where I've had to tell dad, hey, you probably don't want to videotape this. You can if you want, but you're not going to want this later. And they turn it off, and then I bring them over and I show them, here's what we're doing, here's why we're doing this, here's what's happening. And seeing the team calms the parents down. And that's just, to me, that can be so comforting in those situations.
And I don't disagree with that, right? Let me say this. In the United States, we have the privilege of having a resource-rich environment.
Correct.
Yes, we do, right? We do. If you look at other places across the world that do not have resource-rich environments, even at 28 weeks of gestational age, right, there's no resources to take care of the child.
Of course.
Right? So I think we're privileged that we got to your point, we are privileged that we have a resource environment that we could stop everything else we were doing. Again, I debate. We stopped everything else we were doing. We didn't care for all of our other patients and poured resources into what I think I ethically think it wasn't the best decision. It had a pronounced negative effect on the staff because the infant didn't survive.
There could certainly have been a better use of resources in terms of staff. I would agree with. We do it with deliveries, and then these are the people that go to deliveries. Nobody else knows. We could certainly do it in that situation as well. I wasn't there. I don't know how many people were pulled from the NICU to go to ER. But if it was a significant number, then that's something to reevaluate with regards to policy procedure. Should this happen in the future, this is how we're going to do it.
So the one thing that I got from both, because ethics are values, it's a value system, okay? And you try to break it down the best you can. You guys both taught me that quite a bit. The one thing that I get from this is, do the parents understand? So part of ethics is consent. Do they really know what's happening? Do they understand? So could be comforting, could be traumatic, but to me, I feel that's necessary. This is what we have to do to really.
Most policy and procedures will talk about consent, except in an emergency situation.
Well, correct.
Yeah.
Consent changes,
Yeah,
especially
sure
in the
does. It becomes
pediatric
implied.
population,
Yes,
right?
it becomes
Yeah, right. It's implied consent.
It's implied consent. But the right thing to do might not be what's right for the baby, but what the right thing to do is to inform the parents what's going to happen. That's the human thing to do.
Yes.
Right? Be human.
Absolutely.
That we all agree. So that's what I love about ethics. We can have differences of opinions, but we all end up coming together in a balance of it. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, I see your point of view. I see your point of view. And I know the barflies are going nuts right now. They're going, no, no, no. I'm gonna ask your students.
All right.
Did you resuscitate?
Why don't you guys come around this side real quick?
This one come over? All right, let's get them involved. All right, students. Here we go. Okay? Do you resuscitate or not? Come on, you gotta get closer. I like it. Anybody else? Interesting. Okay. Ladies, agree? I think it's a tough one. I think it's a tough one. And on our next episode, when we're talking about ethics, we're going to dive into something else a little deeper. What I'm thinking, gentlemen, beautiful ball men of my life, is that maybe we need to have like a little ethics corner where we just do one every once in a while, bring up an interesting one, maybe one that's in the news, and we break it down and talk about it. Would you guys be interested in something like that? Oh, I love it. I love it. So we are going to finish up because the ARC is getting wild around here. Guys, thank you so much for being my friends. being here at ARC with me. I think it is so much fun. I know we wanted to go a little longer, but we got. I thought it was a good one.
Thank you.
Lisa, was it okay?
It's always a pleasure, Rob.
As long as Lisa says it's okay, we are good to go. So we're RT Sidebar. We're here with the students. We're here doing awesome things. Mike, thank you so much. It was great to be with your family and your students. Rob, as always,
Thank you, Matt.
great to see you.
Pleasure.
This is RT Sidebar at AARC. Make sure you're in Phoenix next year, right? Phoenix? Phoenix next year to come to ARC to talk to awesome people like us. Why wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
So for RT Sidebar, stay tuned, and we are out.
That was good timing. Yeah.
Perfect.